Skin wrinkling. Can food make a difference? They measured healthfulness of skin using a micro-topographic method. It's cool. They make a mold of the back of your hand with a silicone rubber, peel it off, and then look at it under a microscope. This is what young, tight, healthy skin looks like, but then as we age, our skin can get all coarse and flaccid. How can we stop it? Well, three things contribute to the aging of skin: oxidative stress, induced by sun damage, inflammation, and ischemia, lack of adequate blood flow. Oxidative stress means we need antioxidants. Under these circumstances, many skin antioxidants undergo depletion, must be replaced continuously in order to delay the otherwise inevitable deterioration which would lead to skin aging. So plant foods would presumably help. And then inflammation and lack of blood flow. And so one might predict saturated fat, inflammation, and cholesterol, ischemia, might be associated with adverse effects on our skin. Let's see if our predictions hold up. In particular, a high intake of vegetables, beans, peas, lentils, soy, and olive oil appeared to be protective against skin wrinkling, whereas a high intake of meat, dairy, and butter appeared to have an adverse effect. Prunes, apples, and tea appeared especially protective. A recent study, for example, found that green tea phytonutrients were able to protect skin against harmful UV radiation, help improve skin quality of women. After a few months on green tea, there was a 16% reduction in skin roughness and a 25% reduction in scaling. Here's a micrograph showing the reduction in scaling, as well as improved skin elasticity and hydration. Eating healthier can produce healthier skin, but people don't care about microscopic changes. What about overt, visible to the naked eye changes? The extent of facial wrinkles in the crow's foot area was determined by observation using the Danielle scale in 716 women. This is the scoring system they're talking about. It's a scale, 1 through 6, 6 being the worst. So, what seemed to help the most? In the present study, a higher intake of green and yellow vegetables was associated with decreased facial wrinkling. Those eating less than a serving of green and yellow vegetables averaged a score of 3. Those eating 2 or more servings a day averaged a 2. What really excited the researchers was the potential for these studies to promote a healthy diet. I mean, eating fruits and vegetables prevent cancer and heart disease, who cares? But wrinkles, on the other hand— The same leaves of the same plant are used to make white, green oolong, and black tea. The primary difference is how they're processed, with white being the least processed and black being the most. In one of the videos I made a few years ago, I talked about how the tea with the most antioxidant power was green tea, unless you added lemon, in which case white tea pulls ahead. But what about going a step further and testing their respective abilities to prevent DNA damage? Previous studies have shown that the degree of protection against DNA damage from tea appeared to be related to the extent of processing, since green tea was generally more effective than black tea. This suggests the possibility that higher anti-mutagenic or anti-carcinogenic activity might be expected from teas that have undergone the least amount of processing. So they compared the anti-mutagenic activity of white tea in comparison with green tea. Bacteria, just like every other living creature, uses the same DNA that we do. So one common test to see if something is carcinogenic is to drip it on Salmonella growing in a petri dish and see if it causes DNA mutations. And to test if something protects DNA, you add it along with the carcinogen and see if there are fewer mutations. The carcinogen they picked for this test was a doozy. 2-amino-1-methyl-6-phenylamidazole-4,5-B pyridine, a Hetero-cyclic amine found mostly in grilled, fried, and broiled chicken, added with green tea or white tea to see what would happen. Here's with the green tea. By dripping on green tea, you could drop the number of DNA mutations caused by the carcinogen by more than a half. But here's the white. Appeared to completely, 100% block the DNA damage, and the longer you brew it, the better. This is against another cooked meat carcinogen. You'll often see a recommendation to only brew white tea 1 or 2 minutes, but if you go out to 5, you can get significantly more DNA protection.